Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 10 of this 30-day Living an Authentic Life Challenge. We are third way through this challenge. And if you are not yet joining us on the live stream inside of Zoom, I encourage you, click the link below so that you can become a part of the Reset Strategies community. Because today, in day 10, we're having a conversation about restoration. And as we go through the discussion about restoration, I want to encourage you to recognize that there will be crisis in your world, but every crisis brings an opportunity. And when you recognize the opportunities, you'll find the path to restoration. And I know it won't be easy. And when you find yourself in those positions, you're often wondering there has got to be a better way of getting restored from this moment. Because when you're in the middle of chaotic moments, it's difficult to see those opportunities. But what we often focus on are those people that are oppressing us or the situation. I don't want you to keep focusing there. I want you to take the time to trust God because God never forgives what takes place, the chaotic moments, unless there's a payment that is paid for that penalty. And one day, the people that are oppressing you, they'll find the tables turned on them. And God will make the moment of having you restored because if He doesn't remove the trouble from you, He'll transform you in that trouble because He still has everything under control. Even when we find ourselves in a position wondering, when will it end? Why are they doing this? Those moments, those are the times when we need to decide to draw closer to God. I gave an example yesterday about the umbrella. When it's raining chaos on our souls, if you have your Father, open the umbrella. When you get close, you're covered. And the penalty that needs to be paid, even if it's yours. If you choose to let Jesus join you on the journey, He loves you so much that He already paid the penalty for your sin with His life. So you don't have to fight to get to those restorative moments. You just have to be close enough to listen. Because what I love about God is that when He chooses to restore you, He restores us along the way while we're in the middle of the storms, while we're figuring out how to get through the moments. Because the restored version of you, that version of you will be better, will be stronger. You'll be a lot wiser. And the journey, even though it's difficult, the arrival is always worth it. Think about it like this. If you are going on a vacation, nobody talks all about how it's traumatizing sometimes to do all the packing, especially if you got a bunch of little children in tow. You're packing for them, you're finding a closure, trying to strategize all those various things. Nobody talks about all the packing that it takes for you to get to the airport. Not a lot of people talk about all the unpacking it takes also once you get to the airport. We don't talk about the long lines that it gets to go through check in, and we don't often talk about the long lines that it takes to get off that plane to depart, especially if you find yourself in the back of that plane waiting, just longing, because sometimes you may have a connecting flight, and now you got to sprint through the airport to get to another part of the terminal, which more likely will be on the opposite side of the one that you're coming in on. People don't spend a lot of time talking about those things. What you hear when you hear those restorative moments, the time on the beach, the walks in nature, that beautiful moment that refreshed your soul, those are the things that people talk about when they talk about being restored. So let's talk about focusing on that as a strategy first. Because when you shift your thought process from the painful moments to those moments of purpose, I want you to write down one challenging thing that you may be experiencing today. Because when you identify it, you can start focusing on one action step. All you need is one action step. Too many times we get stuck in chaotic moments, not thinking that we can be restored because we're looking for more than one thing, and you can't do more than one thing anyway. So write down one action step that aligns with the opportunity more than it does the obstacle. Because then you'll start seeing your crisis as a doorway to restoration and not destruction. Here's another thing I want to leave you with before I start closing out this public version. Focus on the reward of restoration, not the process. Like I stated, when we're going on vacation to restore our souls, we're not always talking about all the things that the process takes to get there. So write down 3 words that you know describes how you feel when you arrive. When you train your brain to Focus on the expected moment. Because for a lot of us, when we are sitting in mundane moments, if you are an individual just waiting for the workday to end or whatever that traumatic thing to come to a close, focus on what you expect. That renewed moment will give you the thought process that it will get better. And as you think about the moments getting better, you'll feel more restored. So, we're going to start finishing up the conversation on restoration. And if you have not yet joined us inside of the Reset Strategies community, well, now is the time. Click the link below because we have 20 more days that we are going to unpack and get our authentic thought processes together to be renewed, restored, protected, and cover a few more topics before we start going through them on a deeper level. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same. Take care, everyone.